Hey guys, so our Bible study on Genesis 23. Um, I'm going to start in Genesis 22, starting at verse 20 through 24. Okay, so when it's talking about Isaac, it goes on down. You remember that was the story that God did to share His heart for you. This was the father. The first time the word love was mentioned in the Bible was in Genesis chapter 22, and it was for the love was for a father for his son. So at the end of that, the verse 23, we hear of Rebecca's lineage. That's the one that Isaac's going to marry. We don't hear anything again about Isaac until he meets Rebecca, who is his future wife. Just as Jesus goes to heaven and he's coming back for his bride. Okay? So let's go ahead and start reading in chapter 23, verse 1. So Genesis chapter 23 really is an obituary, and it's Sarah's obituary. So let's just read. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. So Sarah died in Kirith Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. So Hebron is in the land of Canaan, that's the promised land, and it's about 20 miles south of Jerusalem. So Sarah lived 127 years. There is not another woman in the Bible who says the age that she died, where she's buried, all this stuff. Sarah was she's the mother, of many nations. Okay, so the mourning definition is feel or show deep sorrow or regret for someone, like someone for their death. Typically by following conventions such as wearing black clothes. So that's how you show respect. And or it could mean feel regret or sadness about the loss or disappearance of something, the loss of a relationship, the loss of your favorite item, or whatever it may be. There's many different ways to mourn, and God cares about each and every one of them. But in Ecclesiastes, it says there's a time to mourn, there's a time for joy, there's everything under the sun there is a time for. So Abraham is in this state of mourning right now for Sarah, his wife, who just passed away. And he's going to bury her. They're in the land of Canaan. And so anyway, I almost got ahead of myself. That's in the next verse. We're going to read that. Then Abraham stood up before his dead, whom was Sarah, and spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, I am a foreigner and a visitor among you. Give me property for a burial place among you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. So he's talking to the sons of Heth. Who were the sons of Heth? The sons of Heth, if you remember back in when Noah and his sons got off of the ark, you remember Canaan? You remember Ham? Ham's son Canaan was cursed, and the sons of Heth is the sons of Canaan. So these people live in the promised land in Canaan. So Abraham went before them and said, I want to buy a burial place for my loved ones. I want to bury them here. Which, just like today, if someone, there's so many wars, okay? So when your loved one dies in a different spot, you want to bring their body home and bury them here at home. And that's how it was back in those days. And so Abraham is bargaining to buy some land. Why did he want to bury Sarah in Canaan, the promised land, the land that God told him that was his inheritance? This was his promised land. Why didn't Abraham take Sarah back to Ur of the Chaldees? Because Abraham is stating here by his actions that he believes the promises of God. He believes that this is the land that God has promised him. Right now, it's occupied by the sons of Canaan, but it will be occupied by them. So let's go on to go. And Abraham saying, I'm a foreigner, I'm a visitor. I am traveling through here. I'm not here to stay. But my promise, God promised me that this is my future's land, my sons and my sons' sons and on over. So he's like, give me a burial place for my loved ones. Verse 5. And the sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, Hear us, my lord. You are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our burial places. None of us will withhold from you his burial place, that you may bury your dead. So we're going to go ahead and continue reading, and we're going to see how this is played out, because it sounds like the sons of Heth are being really, really, really nice to Abraham and saying, you know, just do what you want to, Abraham. We like you. You're amazing. No, this is how they did things back in the day. This was their bargaining. This was their going back and forth, dealing with each other. Trying to be the nicest of the nicest and trying to out-nice the other person. Verse 7. Then Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, the sons of Heth. He spoke with them, saying, If it is your wish that I bury my dead out of my sight, hear me. I meet with Ephron, the son of Zor. Now this is the person that Abraham wants to buy the land from. Okay, the sons of Heth were the people who were at the gate and, you know, all this good stuff. Now he's like, hey, let me meet with Ephron, the son of Zoar, and that he may give me the cave of Machpelah. So Abraham wants the cave of Machpelah, which he has, which is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me at full price as a property for a burial place among you. So Abraham's saying, this is the land, this is the place that I want to buy at full price from you so I can bury my dead. Verse 12. Then Abraham bowed himself down before the people of the land. No, I'm sorry. We're back on verse 10. Now Ephron dwelt among the sons of Heth, and the Hephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the presence of the sons of Heth, all who entered at the gate of his city, saying, No, my lord, hear me. I give you the field and the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of the sons of my people. I give it to you. Bury your dead. I know, it sounds like that he's saying, no, seriously, just take it. Just go. I'm giving it to you. Don't worry about it. You know, you are almost like a prince in this land. You don't have to pay it. Just take it. Then Abraham, verse 12, bowed himself down before the land, and he spoke, people of the land. Then he spoke to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, saying, If you will give it, please hear me. I will give you money for the field. Take it from me, and I will bury my dead there. Verse 14, And Ephron answered Abraham, saying to him, My lord, listen to me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? So bury your dead. And Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out the silver for Ephron, which he had named in the hearing of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, currency of the merchants. Now, 400 shekels of silver, and you got to think, it's a lot of money today. It's approximately, according to Google, $128,000. Okay, now David, or I think it was King Solomon, paid 50 shekels for the land that the temple was built on, if that gives you any kind of, you know what. But $128,000 today, and Abraham paid that back in the day for a burial plot. So Ephron was not being nice. He was not. He didn't want Abraham to buy that. He made it such an outlandish price. He didn't think Abraham would take it, but he did. And that is a lot of money. So, you know, no one can say, hey, Abraham, we just gave that to him. No, Abraham paid a hefty price for that. So, And the cave of Machpelah, located in Hebron, about 20 miles south of Jerusalem. You can see it today. It's on the south of Jerusalem in the West Bank. As of 2018, Hebron was half Israelis and half Palestinians. It is the largest city in Palestine today, in the Palestinian territory. So, anyway, so where are we at? Okay, so we are on verse 17. So the field of Ephron was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was in it. And all the trees that were in the field, which were within all the surrounding borders, were deeded to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the sons of Heth before all who went in at the gate of the city. And after this, verse 19, after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah, before Mamre, that is Hebron. That's in the promised land, in the land of Canaan. So the field and the cave that is in it were deeded to Abraham by the sons of Heth as a property for a burial place. So Abraham got a burial place. And there's going to be a lot more people added into this burial place. But Isaac's wife, Rachel, she's buried in a different place. She's not in this cave, but his wife Leah is. But so this is Abraham staking a claim in the promised land, saying, this is my land that God promised, and this is going to be mine. So just know that God loves you. He knows you mourn. He knows there's people you mourn for. He knows that there's relationships, there's different situations that you mourn for. But there's also a time to get up, wipe yourself off, get the dust off your clothes, and move on. There's a time for everything under the sun. There is nothing new under the sun. And God said, yes, there is a time for mourning. In Israel, I'm not sure about today, but in Israel, they mourn for 30 days. And I think it was the Palestinians, I could be wrong, was like or Babylonians, one of the two, like 70 days or whatever. But, and even like if they would mourn for a few days and they get tired, they would hire professional mourners to mourn those people. But the bottom line is, mourn and get that out of your system. Not that you don't ever remember that person or miss them, but you got to continue living. You can't just die and just stay there. You have to get up, dust yourself off, and move on. So just keep that in mind and just know that God loves you. He loves you very much, and He wants the very best for you. I love you. God loves you even more. Have a wonderful day.